we grew it to the biggest company in this space in Europe. We had suddenly 15 millions of revenue. We had like 35 employees. It wasn't so much fun and it was so stressful and like it was just tearing me down. And it was a fucking nightmare. I'm really focused on pushing it into the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week right now.
You're working 15 hours a week, right? Like many people that I see are working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week.
You opened my eyes that what you guys are doing is actually possible. Having a startup profitable right from the beginning, while the founder, like have one person in your staff, a lot of AI, work very few hours, and key priority should be the quality of your life. Don't sell it.
Tell me about the reality of running an 8-figure coaching and consulting business.
But I can swear now.
Of course.
Okay, yeah, I fucking hated this shit. It's like, to be honest, I maneuvered myself into a position that looked very fancy from the outside, but like from the inside, it was quite miserable. So I started with like this big dream of having something that helps people. Like I was a copywriter for many years, already quite successful in what I do. And for me, copywriting made like it was the vehicle for me to create a free lifestyle. It created the life that I was always dreaming about. And I was like, fucking hell, like it would be so cool to share this with people. So I started a coaching program about how to start your own freelance business as a copywriter. And that worked pretty well. Like I think we had like really good marketing because I'm pretty good at copywriting. We had a very authentic brand because I think I had a lot of stories that people resonate with. And yeah, from there it lifted off. And together with a business partner, we grew it to the biggest company in this space in Europe. And we had suddenly 15 millions of revenue. We had like 35 employees. And yeah, that's exactly how it happened. That it became dark around me. Was a nice effect on your side.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly. That's how that was the
That's
vibe.
how it felt. Oh.
Nice. Yeah, like and then it got dark. It got the horror movie vibes. My business partner got sick because he was the manager and I was the content creator and coach that was like in front of the screen. Um and yeah, like he got sick because he got burned out because it was just too stressful for him. And at the same time, the sales manager was also quitting. So I thought, okay, well, I'm just carrying that. Let's fucking roll. And we still made like 350K revenue a month at the beginning, but like in like with everything with ads and shit and all the staff, we had like costs of 250,000 a month, and it was a fucking nightmare. And I I remember there was this one specific moment. Do you know Europa Park or like Europe Park in Rus, like the biggest theme park in Europe? Um, it's beautiful, and I went there with my family, and like I between the roller coasters and shit, I had to do little meetings with my team, and again something was broken, and like everybody was trying to hold it together. And then it just flipped. And I was sitting in the car driving back to my place. And there's this function of ChatGPT where you can chat with him. And I just put him on the Bluetooth speaker. And like I told him, hey, I give you all my assets now. I give you my stock portfolio, my crypto portfolio, my watches, everything that I own. And I want you to make a financial plan. If I stop working now, if I just close everything now, and I never work again a single day, will I survive until the end of my days? And the answer was like after going back and forth for like 2 hours, I was like, yeah, it's going to be tight, but we'll probably work out. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this shit. Like I really am so fed up with it. And I felt kind of responsible for the team because I love all those guys. Like we had like the best staff, but yeah, I was just sacrificing myself for that in the end. And yeah, you want to say something?
Oh, I just got goosebumps because it was reminding me of back in my days as well when I had 47 people on my team. And what you said about being in that theme park, the roller coaster rides, I kind of vision myself like going through that roller coaster of emotions, trying to handle all that stuff, the weight of the people. And particularly when you said about like the sales manager leaving, because isn't it always somehow in this business, in the most critical moment, you see the people either they rise to the occasion or they just completely just fall. And like what you went through there is like they couldn't live up to it. And so who does that come back to you? Well, that comes back to you because it's your business, like you're the founder. And before we talk about how you're, loving your life and everything, which you mentioned to me previously, which I want to get to that in a minute, like, because it sounds like a really big transformation. And even seeing you and like your face looks more relaxed, like more calm, like you look, pardon me if this is too direct, but like you look healthier as well, which is like really crazy. Like what were your days like back then? Like what were you doing to run this 8-figure company?
So first of all, the important thing is when all of that happened, I was in America. So I was between Colombia, Miami, and Brazil. So that is a very unfavorable time zone, as you probably know,
Well, I wonder why you were there.
because I was there for a Tony Robbins event and for a few beautiful women. Uh, but I yeah, like I was finding myself in Miami, and I had an alarm every morning at 3:30 a.m. Because this was the sales standard.
Oh,
And like I knew I like somebody had to hold together. So I woke up at night, like I did this from my bed. In the beginning with camera, after a few weeks without camera because I was doing it like this. Um and yeah, like I just thought, okay, well, let's do that now. And like obviously it it was management from my side because I just overtook it from my co-founder. And I think this was my biggest problem because my co-founder built the company from 100K a month to like 700K a month and then collapsed. But then I came back in, and that made me, on one hand, the founder who owns everything, who's the boss, who says everything. But at the same time, it made me a trainee because I didn't know. I never logged into Pipedrive. I was never running an ad in my whole life. Until today, I don't know how to run meta ads. I never did that because I always had people to do that. I never really built a funnel. I don't know how that works. Like, I really had to learn all the shit from scratch. Like, of course, I know how online marketing works and I'm strategic and stuff, but really, like the hands-on stuff, I didn't really do it. I was an architect, not a builder. And yeah, so I thought, okay, I learned that, but it wasn't so much fun and it was so stressful and like it was just tearing me down.
so like at that point, why did you not stop then and ask ChatGPT all those questions at that moment?
That's a really good question. Um, to be really honest, until today, no, it's going away at the moment, but like until recently, I had this big fear of like, maybe this was my one big shot. Maybe I can just create this whole thing once. And so I have to maintain it as long as I can with all the power that I have. Because I never asked myself the question, am I financially free already? Like at one point in my life, I said, if I have 5 million of liquid assets in my name, this is financial freedom for me because then I cannot fuck it up.
Mm. And I think as well, sometimes we're so busy doing the doing, it's what we know. It's what's familiar to us. Like for you in that moment, when the sales manager quits and crisis comes about, you're the only one that that can solve that problem. So you get on with it and you just do it because it's your company. Like you feel like because you created that thing, you need to do whatever it takes in order to maintain it and sustain it. And it's like funny, isn't it, when sometimes these like things happen in our life which cause us to actually reflect. And you hear people like Tony Robbins, as you say, tell you to sit down and reflect. And it's like, but I'm too busy to do that. But I'm too busy to possibly do that. And there's a really cool book called The Road Less Stupid. I think that's the name. It's by Keith Cunningham. Have you read that? He talks about this. Yeah, he talks about this concept of thinking time. And what it is if you have a challenge or if you have a feeling, an emotion, or something that's bothering you or your business or anything, you basically just sit down and you ask yourself like a series of questions that get you to go really deep on that particular problem and that particular topic. And it's funny because like I read that book, oh, first time I think it was in 2019. And I thought like cool concept, but I never have time for that. Like how can I possibly have time to sit down and think because I'm trying to run this thing and it's going, fast beneath my feet. And it's like only now, maybe with a slightly more mature mindset, I can actually now when I do face an issue, I don't just immediately rush to solving that thing. I sit and I think and I take the concepts that he's got in that book and I go deeper and deeper and deeper on the particular problem because it gives you a moment to reflect and a moment of clarity rather than just like rushing to the next thing and the next thing, which potentially is how we, get ourselves into this position where we've got this like massive machine with a bunch of people there doing all these things. And it's like, this is what, when we first probably spoke in Cape Town, we were hiking up, what was it, Lion's Head? It was Lion's Head, yeah. And we were like having this chat about, well, is the machine even needed? Like, what if the machine wasn't even there? Because you build this like big operation to do all these things, but at some point, is it just a big money taking machine rather than money printing machine? So for you, you mentioned obviously the revenue got like really high and there was a lot of expenses going on and everything. And so what was the decision making process for you behind, okay, keeping that thing, building that thing up, scaling that to the next level, 10 million a year, whatever, versus actually it could just be the same amount of profit if I run it leaner? Like, how did you think through going one way or the other?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the 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 direction I maneuvered myself into became more and more glamorous, and that made it very ego driven. What does that mean?
Mm.
I started with this idea of like, I want to help people. I want to share what I learned. I want to inspire other people. And a few years fast forward, I'm running this 8-figure business and I'm standing in front of those people on a stage. And I'm not talking so much anymore about freedom because I don't feel free anymore by myself. I'm just talking about how to scale to an 8-figure business. And then I'm like, I remember I was invited to one of the biggest podcasts in Germany. And I thought, I could do a little marketing stunt there. So I just bought €100,000 watch a day before I went to the podcast. And then I was wearing it there like, you see? And I thought, because I had a very alternative brand and like had long hair and like these Hawaiian shirts, I thought, oh, that would be like a cool thing to show them that the yoga teacher hippie guy has like like a really expensive watch that he just bought occasionally. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that brought me there, where I'm like, it was more and more about this stuff that I never really wanted, but as I had it, it was cool to have it and have more of it.
Well, what's the motivation behind it? And like that's the thing for us founders to pay attention to. It's like, what is my actual motivation behind what I'm doing? So I was chatting to a friend, he sold a coaching business quite a few years ago. He's got another coaching business now, a bit of consulting and everything. And he asked me, what motivates you? And I was like, you know what? I just love to just do stuff. on my laptop that gets a result, or chat to people, they get a result from it, and like I do it and it works. And like that's fun for me, that's enjoyable for me. But if I look at my days back then, similar to you, what are you doing most of the time? It's like leading people, managing people, training them, making sure they've done their stuff, like project management. And the crazy thing is now, I mean, with AI, we could talk about that in a sec, but with AI, we don't necessarily need to have such a crazy big team. Um, but that's like an interesting thing. So back then, what what really motivated you? Was it still the freedom, or did the other stuff kind of like catch up with you in the industry, as it were?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's weird talking to you as a woman right now because I'm using this metaphor of a dick measuring game. Um, but that's what it is until a certain extent. I remember I was in a mastermind and it was only it was for 8-figure founders or 8-figure business owners. And I remember the mastermind was in a hall, and in most masterminds or most events, there's like a you call it like a theater formation, I think. The way you put the chicks.
Like the square kind of thing.
Yes. But here it wasn't a theater formation, it was a gala formation, which means you had tables, round tables, and you sit around them. And the table defined the yearly revenue that you make. And no, the monthly revenue. And in the middle, in the front, were the people that made consistently more than 1.5 million a month. This was like in front of the stage, best spot. And I was I was in the bottom left, like really in the corner. There was not even light. It was a little bit darker than the rest of the rooms. And I was sitting with these other losers. I was one of the losers. And because at this time the business was already running shitty, and I joined the mastermind to save it. So we just made 350K a month, which was pathetic. And yeah, like to just compete with that, and like this is probably the next thing that you're pointing out. We were not talking about profit, we're talking about revenue, which is a useless metric. um but yeah, like I just said, next time I'm going to this fucking event, I'm also sitting there, blah, blah, blah." And yeah, like it's fucking pointless, especially because it has consequences. Like you raise prices, you put more pressure on your clients, especially in a BizOp, that they have to carry. And there is always this thing that you can tell yourself, well, if the price is higher, the client is more committed, so the success story is higher. So yeah, kind of, but only until a certain point. And I was always criticizing those fucking high price spiritual manifesting success coaches that sell in a B2C context, like 100 grand coaching program for 6 months, and then they pursue their clients into like a credit loan of like 100 grand, just to buy the fucking coaching, and then afterwards the people go bankrupt. I was judging that so hard, and as I said, like I was not even 10% on that journey, but I was slowly maneuvering into this direction. And I was like, fuck that, I don't want that. Like it feels wrong to me. And yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, it's so, it's refreshing speaking to you because you were actually able to stop yourself going down that path, because it's a slippery slope. I mean, it's a massively slippery slope, isn't it? And that's how you see people. I mean, and God, I mean, imagine like that continuing for years and years. Because like, do you mind sharing also how you felt at that time?
With what exactly?
Well, like the conversation we had, and you mentioned that you're an open book, right? So you were talking about how you were just like really, really burnt out.
Hmm.
And so how did that show up for you?
Well, it's just it's a good question because fortunately it's a while ago. Like I cannot really connect so much
That's
to.
great. That's really cool. That shows that that shows the transformation in like how things are, because even when was it, like 6 months ago ish in Cape Town?
Yeah, 6, 7
That
months.
was 6 months ago, yeah. So back then you were just like you were so pissed off with everything relating to your business, you didn't even want to talk about it. If I'd have tried to have a conversation like this with you back then, you would have just walked away.
Yeah, I remember that. I was really, I wanted to talk about everything besides business. I
Yeah.
just wanted to go hiking and lay in the sun on my little pool. That was my, my life.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's talk about like, what we changed, what things changed, and essentially like how we went about doing that. Because I think that that's like an interesting one for anyone who's like, I hate my business so much right now. I'm in this position where I've got this thing, I've got this team, I've got this offer, I've got these clients. Like, I can't just turn it off tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do we do? So maybe that's a good place to start.
Hmm. Um, so talking to you was also very refreshing for me at this point because you had a very, I would almost say, counterintuitive approach to the whole thing. Because you said fuck the revenue. Like it's completely irrelevant how much revenue you make. The only metric that counts is like cash collected profit. And so I was, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And the bizarre thing was that, yeah, of course I made 300K, but I had like 50K revenue. And
Profit.
I profit, thank you.
The old ways are still ingrained in the blood.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and I was catching myself like at this point it was already going down. Like I went to my I think that's an important thing that I still have to share because at this time where we talked, I had a conversation with my, you can call them like my head of management row of people like who have the most to say, and I told them, guys, I'm really burned out. I really hate what I do right now. I cannot work anymore, and I will completely, yeah, I will completely shatter if I continue like this. So I will give this business to you. You run it. You get the same amount of salary. Just do what you think is necessary. If you fuck it up, I'm not mad at you. Don't worry. I will help you find a new project. If you make it run, it's okay. If not, it's also okay, but leave me alone. And that didn't work for half a year. Like it worked perfectly until the numbers went to shit. Because obviously somebody has to carry it. Um, and yeah, like then I talked to you, and you made me realize, okay, like I'm still paying 35 people. I'm still having this gigantic risk. I'm having these super complex structures. I pay I pay hundreds of thousands in ads every month. And I earn less money than when I was a freelancer at some points because I was a really successful freelancer. Like I made like 35K a month often. And yeah, I was like, this is completely retarded. So you opened my eyes that what you guys are doing is actually possible. Because for me, it was always like, yeah, like on paper that works, but nobody's doing it. Like you need a big machinery, you need big numbers. You cannot have super high profit margins. We are already in the business with the highest profit margins, like compared to like a, I don't know, a supermarket or a car retail shop or whatever. Yeah. And so you told me no, like it actually works. Like have one person in your staff, a lot of AI, work very few hours, and yeah, you will not make 10 million a year maybe, or maybe you will eventually. But yeah, key priority should be the quality of your life. Don't sell it.
That's a good one. If you like the sound of implementing AI into your business when it comes to content creation, when it comes to running the entire operation, that's what my team and I specialize in at Scale Systems. So there is a link in the description box where you can schedule a quick 10 to 15 minute chat so we can see if it could be a fit. And I actually think now, I mean, I was even just talking to a guy yesterday. He's currently going through, let's just say, a 9-figure exit, team of less than 10, because there's so much AI in place.
Wow.
That's insane. Yeah, but he also loves what he does, right? And like the energy comes from a good place in exiting that business. And so I think it's also like a testament to what I've noticed in this industry, like let's say coaching programs and everything like that, is unfortunately people like they start for the right reason, which is great. Freedom, as you mentioned, fulfillment, helping others and everything. But somehow the industry kind of makes you get on this path that you think that you need to do this thing because ultimately everyone's marketing all the time, right? That their way and their method is better. And so we fall into this path that we think we have to do all these same things that everyone's doing. And then it's like, well, actually, the question is, what makes more sense? A company that's this, like, let's say a coaching consulting business that realistically you're maybe going to get like 1.5x revenue if you were to exit, which would be a really long process. So let's say you're making like 10 mil a year, 10 mil a year, 50K a month in profit. Or are you better off just having, I don't know, 50K a month in profit from like 60K a month in revenue with a 10K a month in ads and team? And then it's like, well, which one actually makes more sense? And I think it's like figuring out for yourself, and everyone has their own, decision-making process, but figuring out for yourself which one makes more sense for you and your life. Because for goddamn most people, having the 50K basically in profit with 1 or 2 or 3 team members and a load of AI, it makes a lot more sense than having this 30, 40, 50 people on your staff making this huge operation. I mean, constant headaches, constant needing to fire and hire and everything. And having been through both, I mean, I guess I'd ask you, like, which one do you think makes more sense?
Well, obviously the latter. And yeah, like I think it's always one really big thing that it comes down to, because I mentioned I was at the Tony Robbins event, and like you already shared it in what you just said, but I want to emphasize on it because I think it's very important. Um, there is like this very famous quote: "You are the average of the 5 people that surround you the most." And Tony said on this event that's not 100% true. Like the more precise answer is, or the more precise statement is, you are the expectations of the 5 people that surround you the most. If you grow your business, like if you start your business, you're like one step ahead of your clients, especially when you run a biz op. So you can really relate to them. It's really nice and cutesy, and yeah, come on, I help you. You work together, but then you grow, like you go up this ladder, and suddenly you're surrounded by the 8-figure owners, and they become your friends, and they are nice people, of course. But their expectation is of you. You are also an 8-figure owner because that's part of the identity, like crabs in a bucket that always pull you down, right? And so at one point, that is when I was shocked about myself, that like I realized my key value is not anymore, hey, how many people can I make successful with my business? How many lives can I change? Because I didn't even know the people anymore. I didn't even know the clients anymore. It was so big. We had 3,000 clients. And for me, it was just like, how much, first of all, how can I pay all the bills? And then like, how much revenue are we making this month again? And yeah, like it's just, like, of course it's business, but there's something dehumanizing about it. There's something very cold about that. And it's, yeah, like I don't like that. So for me, it was coming down to like, of course, I want to make a good living. And of course, I want to have a business that is profitable. And at this time when we talked, my business wasn't even profitable anymore. I think this was like the worst part, because we made still like 200K, but we had 250K of costs. And so it was going down, and I was just catching myself of like, okay, I have all my investments and all this kind of dividends that I get, and I make more with that. So that means I would have more money if I would do nothings compared to the 60 hours that I'm doing right now. And yeah, like what you already suggested, like coming back to a place of like having a small, very efficient, very profitable business that I'm really focused on, like, I'm really focused on pushing it into the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week right now.
I remember, first of all, when you showed us that spreadsheet of all your team and your costs, I was completely gobsmacked.
I loved this company in the beginning. But even in the end, I loved the staff. Like, I loved everybody who worked for me. And we didn't really hire the people full time. All of them were freelancers. Um, because of our company structure, long story. Um, so there is not really like an amount of like, hey, we pay you for another 3 months or whatever, but it was literally like, okay, goodbye, end of the month for most people. But I felt really responsible for all of them. And before I even thought about firing one of the people, I called everybody in my network, and I know like a lot of mastermind owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, and I made sure that everybody in the team has a new job, a new
So important.
client, a new place where they can go to. Because I felt like I owe this to them. And I made sure that every single one of them has a safe landing. And then I fired everybody. Yeah. But
No, but that is the right thing to do. I also did that as well when I let go of a significant number of people in a short period of time, because like these people, like, and now they're still friends of mine, right? I'm
yes.
gonna go hang out with one of them on Monday. It's beautiful because now you can also continue to build that relationship if they were someone that you got on really well with. So, okay, so I want to talk though about like the strategy and everything, because obviously the goal wasn't just suddenly fire everyone and then that's the end of that. So obviously when we started talking about all this stuff, with regards to the offer, we just noticed like this offer slash the marketing and everything was like quite expensive to bring the clients in to fulfill on the thing you were selling, which got amazing. Like, I was always gobsmacked by your results. They were so good. And one of the issues that we'd identified is like maybe client selection, because you have a unique ability to work with more sophisticated clients that maybe some others don't have the ability to do. And so essentially what we saw is like the upsell rate from the initial offer to the back end offer wasn't necessarily like where it should have been because of the front end marketing not ultimately getting us to ever have clients that could realistically get into that back end offer. So we definitely saw an opportunity there to like sell that back end offer on the front end. And essentially that's what we did, right? Is like in the beginning, put a webinar together, which was really cool. You were able to launch that to your existing previous clients because you'd had so many previous clients. You ran that webinar, and then ultimately that webinar was able to, I think, give you the clarity that this could be possible um, from the get-go, right? So let's talk about that transition period, because it was kind of more or less one day to the next that you took your team down from 35 to 2
One.
to 1. 35 to 1. Okay.
Well, basically one and an external agency. So
Yeah.
represented by another person. So let's say two.
Okay. Okay. And so then tactically, like if someone else is going through like a transition like this, what were the steps that you took? So the first step was really cool. You obviously phoned everybody from the team, let them know, help them out to get a new role. Did you do that
I
before
didn't phone anybody. I did it in a Zoom group call.
Zoom?
I did one meeting with like all the people, and I just told them, all of you are fired. And the funny thing is, I said them also that they will get like, I will make sure that they get like a new place or whatever. But nobody was mad at me, and nobody was not supporting. Every single person in the company said, that's the right thing to do. Like, we're happy that you're doing it, and it's long overdue that you're doing this.
Right,
And
right.
that was dope. So like the next tactical steps were basically calming my nervous system, which is like the I think this is the essential part, because the crazy thing is, for everybody who sees that now, when you pull the plug, think about what realistically happens. And the cool thing is, not so much. Like, there's really not a lot of stuff that happens. You always think that everything explodes, but no. Like, the machine is still running and it's slowing down over a period of, like, how much would you say? Like 8 to 10 weeks, I would say, until it's slowly going to zero. Um, you have so much time. And then you're like, okay, wow, this is interesting. Like, yeah, the support goes down. Nobody complains. Okay, sales go down. Yeah, but we still have installments. We don't have any more marketing, but we still have like 100,000 emails. Let's just send a few emails. Oh, okay, that works. Well, let's give the email list to some affiliate marketer who makes money with that. Oh, okay, passive income. Okay. Um, yeah, like that's how we do it at the moment, and that's how we did it, and it was really surprising. It's like, um, what is a good metaphor? Um, I I think the most like the best metaphor is like many years ago. I was in Cambodia in Phnom Penh, and Phnom Penh has in the city center the Olympic Stadium, which was built for the Olympic Games before the Khmer Rouge took over the country and put it into like socialist dictatorship, and everything fell into chaos. So it's abandoned. You have like this abandoned Olympic Stadium in the middle of the city, and there is like a tower like through the pool where you can jump down. It's like 5 meters, I think. And I saw that and I was like, "Fuck, I want to climb that up and jump down." I remember I'm standing in front of this tower and looking down and be like, what the hell? This is so high. I was so scared of that. And you feel like if you jump down, you die. And then I just did it and nothing happens. It's super chill. It's like jumping from the 1 meter thing. And then you realize, okay, wow, it's so fucking easy. And everything was just in my head. And yeah, I think that describes it the best.
Mm, that's very relatable. And with everything how it is now, how are your days looking compared to before? And you mentioned about like the affiliate marketer running the emails and everything. Like what other things have you put in place that are allowing you to, well, is it profitable now? That's the first question.
It is profitable. Like it's definitely it's more profitable than before. It's way more profitable than before. It's not quite there where I want it to be, because we're still figuring out the perfect product market fit. Because that's one thing that is important to say. I guess a lot of the clients that come to you, with them it's like, okay, I have this existing business and I want to change the structure of it and want to make it smaller and more lean and efficient again. With me, it was more like I take the old business, I close it completely, I burn down the brand, and I start a new business that, of course, benefits from the past, but it's a new brand, a new offer, new marketing, everything completely different. And that was kind of frustrating for me in the beginning, because I underestimated um the power that it needs to take off, because I thought it was like, oh yeah, well, everybody knows me, like I'm already the world is waiting for my next offer. That didn't happen so smoothly, but we are in the phase of starting a new startup technically. Like the whole thing runs for 3 months now. And like having a startup that is profitable right from the beginning a month, while the founder is like working 15 hours a week, chills a lot, and is just playing a lot of video games, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was like two things done in once. It's like the massive cleanup plus launching the new thing in parallel. Like that's very hard to do, and it hasn't really been that long by any means. Like it's been a very short period of time. And yeah, when he says that he plays video games, like, and just chills, he really means it. Like this guy, I swear, whenever I'm like seeing Phil on the cool, I mean, people say this about me too, but you're always in like some different random place. It's honestly so funny. I now under I now see a mirror of myself here, you know? Yeah, no, so no, that's great. And I think, you know, early doors, early days, there's obviously still like plenty of leverage on the social media side. Obviously on the existing list and brand side of things. I mean, it's a really cool position that you're in, and I think like kudos for you for executing it. And to your point about like, you know, people that we typically see, you're definitely right in that most people don't want to completely tear down the previous thing that they had. Some people think that that's what they want, but then in the end it doesn't make sense. But for you, like, it really did make sense, because like you working with slightly more sophisticated clients, with your brand and everything, it logically made sense, especially after we, you know, looked at all the numbers and everything that you had. I would say what most people are trying to do at the moment is, I'd say one thing is like, maybe it's not they're trying to get smaller, they're trying to build more profit. That's the major thing that I'm seeing. Um, and so a lot of people have realized like these big bloated teams that they've had from the past, like in this, like really, I mean, their competitors are putting AI in place and they are becoming more profitable. And that is going to give them a competitive advantage, because like, as we know, if those people can, you know, get things more efficient, especially when it comes to the marketing front, right? They're going to be more dominating the marketing compared to others compared to them. And so that's obviously the risk that comes about there. And you know, I think it's also this realization that now we don't need to be working, you know, you're working 15 hours a week, right? Like many people that I see are working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you just have no life, maybe one kind of half day off. You have no life and no mental space to think. So yeah, I think it's cool, you know, you sharing this. So thanks for sharing all of that. And is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think is important, like for the audience who may be in this process right now, would need to know?
Yeah. I think the main question that I should have asked myself earlier is, what was my motivation when I started? What was my motivation to start this business in the beginning? And am I still on the right path, or am I following a different path? Um, and I think as a founder, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a business person, whatever, you should frequently ask yourself this question, because the reason for all of us to not be employed and work in a supermarket is because we don't want the average life. There is something that we want to do differently. And that means something different for you, Lauren, than it does for me. And it means something different for the person who is watching this conversation right now. But we should always ask ourselves, like, am I right now living the life that I really want to live? And if the answer is no, we should remind ourselves that we are in a position to change that. That is why we started, to be in this position. And yeah, like, even if you don't have a few million euros or dollars on the side, but just have, like, I don't know, 50 or 100K in savings, that is enough to make a fresh start. And if are not happy with the way you live right now with your business, because it's a huge, how you call it, like a leviathan, the biblical thing, the in German is Leviathan, is Leviathan?
Oh, this is terrible. I don't know what that is in English, but I know what you mean.
You know what I mean, like the
Yeah.
Leviathan. Like, if your business turned into this kind of monstrosity, then just slay it and yeah, start all over. It's okay to do that. It's not failure.
Yeah, so real. And so then how would you answer that question now? Do you feel like you're living the life in alignment to ultimately why you started, or what still needs to change?
Lauren, this is so funny. Um, I started like my whole thing was when I was a teenager, like I think I was 15 years old. I was this really nerdy guy. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I really wanted to have a nice girlfriend. And so I was very lonely and very miserable, and I just played Counter-Strike. And then I started like a lot of male online entrepreneurs. I started with this whole pickup dating thing. From there, I went into communication and marketing, and I went into the whole business world, grew this whole big business, traveled the world, met a lot of amazing people, and were on all the social events and just traveling and on action and like doing all the cool stuff all the time. And now I'm back at the start. I I'm meeting nobody. I'm just living the most chilled life. I bought like a Steam Deck, which is like a handheld console to play video games, and I play GTA. And whenever I'm invited to a party, I say I'm busy. I never go out. Like, leave me alone. And like, I'm right back in the beginning, but it's amazing.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, well, I mean, your nervous system probably is still recovering from all of that. I mean, completely, 100%. And no, that's great. I mean, it's the ability, like, I saw this thing once and it's like to be unfuckable with. And I really like that because you get to just choose what you want to do, and you have options, you have choices, and that's a beautiful thing. So, oh, I love it, Phil. Thanks so much for the time. This was very, very valuable to a lot of people. I think now they can see what's possible. We didn't get into how you're using AI, but maybe we can do that another time. But if anyone is like maybe thinking to sign up with us and like not sure about it, what would you tell them? You can just be honest.
If anybody is thinking about signing up with you and he's not sure if they should do it,
Washing.
um, well, like as I said, like I would recommend you guys. And like I was just irritated about the you can be honest because obviously it will be something positive. Um, hard to say. Like I think you guys, working with you was very different compared to the other programs and masterminds and stuff because it was not like every Tuesday, 5 p.m., we're having this group call, and then sometimes there's a client success manager sending me a text message. It was more like you were asking me, hey, what do you need? And then I said something. And for example, there was this one thing I thought, okay, I need to do a webinar and should I would like to have some feedback on the webinar that I'm going to create. And a few days later, you sent me a webinar. Like it's like you didn't send me a webinar of Lauren Tickner for her offer. You sent me a webinar for Philipp Vollmer and his offer. But even the presentation that I was doing yesterday was still based on that script. And so it like you you always overperformed at very unexpected points. And I was like, what the hell? This is really cool. So yeah, I would say this is what I would communicate to somebody who is still struggling or like treatment with a certain.
Okay, cool. Well, wait till I send you the email agent after this call. You might be significantly more mind blown than the webinar.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Cool. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate it. Okay, cool.
Thank you so much.
And if you like that case study with Phil, a client of Scale Systems, and you are interested in implementing AI and having us consult on your business so that you too can decrease the time that you're spending working, increase your profit while getting your life back, there is a link in the description box where you can book a call, not a sales call. It's really to see if it could be a fit because we're pretty selective about who we work with. So there's a link in the description, book a call, let's see if we can help you too.